Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another third-party unlicensed figure unboxing and review video. Now today we're going to be taking a look at none other than the ToysWorks Transcender figure. Yes, a bit of a weird name. I still think they should have called it the Agent or something like that, but this right here is of course the third-party version of Agent Smith from the Matrix series. Now before we begin, if you haven't already, go ahead and check out the ToysWorks Morpheus review. It's already live on the channel. It was a really awesome release, and I've got my fingers and toes all crossed that this figure is equally as good. They've got a Trinity and they also have a Neo coming out, so stay tuned to the channel for reviews on them. Now before we begin, I just want to let you know this is a third-party unlicensed product. That means ToysWorks doesn't hold the intellectual property rights to the movie of The Matrix, or indeed the likeness rights to Hugo Weaving himself. So if you are purchasing that, do so knowing full well all of those details. Now I have included the link in the description below to toyswonderland.com. That's just for your reference purposes. I picked mine up from there. This isn't a promotional video. This is simply a review of a product that I've purchased with my own money. And if you do like seeing these really early third party and of course Hot Toys reviews, why not hit that subscribe and bell notification icon so you're notified as soon as brand new content goes live on the channel. Either way, what we're going to do now is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. And here we have the box art for the Transcender himself. Now as you can see, it's got a really nice sort of silhouetted image of Agent Smith in this super high gloss on the front there. I love it when third-party companies go all out with their packaging, and in my personal opinion, ToysWorks have done a really great job with this one right here. I love that effect of having Agent Smith on the front of the box without being too garish. And of course you can see all the Matrix text all along the entire side. There's also a bit of a weird pattern, not sure what's going on here, but it looks really good. Of course it extends all the way around the back. It looks like they're doing sort of seals of authenticity or something. A bit weird for a third-party product in my personal opinion. But either way, let's see what this figure is like. I know a lot of people, including myself, have been very, very excited. Fingers crossed that Hugo Weaving likeness is as good as the promo pics, because in my opinion, sometimes ToysWorks are a bit hit and miss. Now, I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. I actually haven't opened this up before, but there's this weird sort of speckling all over the plastic. I don't know if that's some sort of residue or something, but I don't know if it's going to affect the figure. Fingers crossed it won't. Now here is the figure himself. It looks like this has already been detached as well. Not off to a great start with the unboxing experience, but either way, we're here for the figure himself. Here is his little earpiece. That has already come detached, but don't worry, it will be on the figure when we get to actually taking a look at him. But just out of the box, I have to say, this looks pretty darn good for a relatively cheap third-party figure. This is not too terribly bad, but either way, let's set him aside because we'll be taking a look at him in just a second. Now as you can see, he comes with a gun, his glasses, couple of hands, and of course his display base, but don't worry, we'll take a much closer look at those, and of course the secondary head sculpt. Either way, what we're going to do now is get all of the accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look at everything he comes with. And here we have all of the accessories that come with the ToysWorks Transcender. Now it looks pretty bare bones, but bear with me, I'm pretty sure this is everything that you're going to need to recreate some pretty iconic scenes from the movie. Now let's start off with the display base first. This is pretty much a carbon copy to the one that we got with the Morpheus figure. I'm actually totally fine with that. I prefer this style of display base being a more modern look than the one that we actually got with the Hot Toys Neo. It's far too big, it's far too cumbersome. Yes, it replicated that flooring from that scene where he did the handstand. There was a huge shootout, and that's totally awesome, but I would have rathered something a little bit smaller, much like this one here. In fact, I actually used it for my Neo. I swapped it out and I gave Morpheus something else. But either way, enough about that. I really like the display base. Now let's take a look at the alternate head sculpt. This, in my opinion, is just okay. It looks pretty good, but I think the paintwork does let it down, just like we've seen with some of the other Toys era / ToysWorks products, especially on those teeth there. For some reason, there's a bit of a mispaint and you can see some actual white paint missing. Yes, I can totally fix that up, but it kind of throws off the entire thing. The skin texture is definitely sculpted in there, but it's not painted anywhere near as nicely as I would have liked. Let's see if the glasses can actually do anything to save the sculpt. I mean, not really. It looks a little bit better, and I do like the way the glasses look, and they are accurate to the movie, but they aren't translucent, and you don't get that really sort of creepy look of seeing his eyes behind them. That is unfortunate. They do at least look good, but they don't, unfortunately, save this particular head sculpt. Now, he does have the port on his ear for his little earpiece. That's actually already attached to the other head sculpt, and you'll see that when we take a look at the figure as a whole. Now, he does come with his weapon, which kind of looks like a tiny little Desert Eagle. Not sure if that's accurate accurate to the movie. In fact, I'm pretty sure he had a full Desert Eagle, but still, it works. You do have a removable magazine, and it's also painted in terms of the bullet detail on there, which is something that I wasn't expecting, but it is pretty much a stock standard 1/6 scale gun. Now, he does come with an array of hands, but let's take a look at the most interesting one, being this one here. So this is obviously when he sort of takes over the body of someone else. Really cool little effect. I do like the sort of black splotch towards the end there. Unfortunately, all of the detail on pretty much all of the hands, it's just very soft. They don't have that skin texturing and flecking and all the little extra details on there. It's just pretty much a single tone paint job, if there's any paint on here at all. So the hands, unfortunately, are a little bit of a letdown, but again, you can swap those out. That's totally fine. Either way, what we're going to do now is get the figure himself out here and take a closer look. And here we have the ToysWorks Transcender figure standing straight up and down the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. And I have to say, this figure at first glance looks really, really good. I am very impressed with ToysWorks, aka Toys Era. That's my thoughts at least. It looks really, really good just standing there. It cuts a really nice silhouette. The suit is very, very nicely tailored to the body. It doesn't look too chunky, doesn't look too thin. I think they've nailed it. And don't worry, we will be punching in just a second. But at a distance, the head sculpt also looks really, really strong. I'm very impressed with the sculpting work and of course the paintwork details on this particular head sculpt. I think it suits the body marvelously. Again, doesn't look too big, doesn't look too small. I think the ToysWorks have definitely nailed it. This Matrix line is shaping up to be one of my personal favorite 1/6 scale third-party unlicensed lines in the entire collection. I cannot wait to get the rest of the figures in this line. Either way, what we're going to do now is get him off the rotating turntable, punch in and take a closer look at the details. And here we have the ToysWorks Transcender up close and personal. Let's take a look at that head sculpt first. I think this is definitely the stronger of the two in terms of the likeness. And don't worry, you will see the glasses on this sculpt a little bit later in the video. But I have to say, the likeness is definitely there. It looks like Hugo Weaving. The expression is really, really good. That earpiece, though, is a right pain to get installed. You do have to push it really, really hard, and then don't even look at it the wrong way. It will come out. So definitely do be careful with the earpiece, but the sculpt itself and the paintwork on this particular head sculpt, I have zero problems with. It looks really, really good, and I cannot wait to have him on my Matrix shelf. Now, in terms of the outfit itself, it does look really good at first glance, yes, but when you start dissecting a little bit, it kind of leaves a little bit to be desired. Now, in terms of the collar itself, it's very eerily similar to what we got with the Toys Era comedian figure. Very flat and very big. I think the collar would have sort of been a little bit better if it was slightly smaller. Now, the tie knot itself is also really, really chunky, but it definitely does the job. At least they got the tie bar down, which looks really, really good. Surprisingly, that is one of the nicest details on the suit itself. Now, you can see it is, of course, a dust and fluff magnet, being a black suit, so when you do pose him, you might have to lint roll him every now and then. Now, in terms of the suit jacket itself, it's very nice, very form-fitting, and for once, a third-party company has already pulled the cuff of the shirt out under the jacket, and it looks really, really good. I wish that more third-party companies would do that. Now, there is one key thing which I am not a huge fan of on these 1/6 scale third-party jackets, and it's real buttons. Why on earth would anyone want to go through the painstaking process of getting that button through that hole right there? Unfortunately, this figure out of the box had that button undone. I don't actually want to try and get that in there. I've already multiple times in my collecting career removed a button off a jacket by just simply trying to poke it through that hole there. It's more difficult than you might think, so definitely do be careful. But then again, your mileage may vary. Panning the camera down to give you a closer look at the rest of the outfit for Agent Smith. Now, as you can see, it's pretty much as basic as it gets. They are literally black suit style pants. They are very well done though. They're very nice slim fitting pants, and you can see that they do have the crease down the front there. However, where they do start to fall apart is in the length. As you can see, there is a noticeable gap down the bottom. I don't think that Hugo Weaving's pants in the movie were anywhere near as short as these. Yes, you can pull them down a little bit and it kind of hides the gap, but it's still definitely there. The socks are at least black to give you that illusion of the longer pant leg. Now, in terms of the shoes themselves, these look absolutely fantastic. They're done in a really nice high gloss black paint, so they do look like patent leather. You can see as well the details are really good. There's like a little strap on the inside there. The laces are very well done. He does have that sort of toe cap that goes over the front. The shoes I'm really, really happy with. But yeah, those pants, I don't know why they are as short as they are. But either way, the outfit itself is pretty darn good. Now, of course, this review wouldn't be complete without doing a side-by-side comparison to the one Neo himself. And here you can see them standing standing together, there is something slightly off, and I'm sure a lot of people have already picked it. Agent Smith is supposed to be just a little bit taller than Keanu in the movie. I've looked up the heights, it's supposed to be that way, Keanu's supposed to be shorter, but then again, in figure format, something was lost in translation, and Agent Smith is actually shorter than Neo here. Actually, taking a look at them side by side, for some reason, the head sculpt on the Agent Smith figure appears a little bit smaller. In fact, it looks like it's for an almost completely different scale. Don't worry though, I'm sure when you have them posed up, battling on the shelf, it's kind of not going to be an issue, but for me personally, just having them standing there next to each other, something looks a little bit funky. Also, the Matrix Neo head sculpt from Hot Toys is so darn well painted and crafted, posing this Toys Works figure right next to him really starts to show the flaws in the paint application. It's just a little bit cheaper, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. It is a third-party unlicensed product, and that's to be expected, but it really is a testament to how good the paintwork is on the Hot Toys Neo. And now, of course, bringing out the Toys Works spiritual leader standing alongside the Transcender figure. As you can see, these are pretty much the exact same height. I wouldn't be surprised if they were using the exact same body for these two figures. For some reason, they've gone with a Caucasian body on the Morpheus figure. I'm pretty sure, as I said, they are the exact same. But as you can see, staying around the same height, the quality seems to be about on par. So at least if you're going all in on the line from Toys Works and you don't have the Hot Toys Neo, you're picking up the Toys Works Neo, they're all going to look around the same level of quality and nothing is going to throw you off. I would expect that Toys Works Neo to be the correct height in comparison to these two figures, rather than the Hot Toys one, which appears either to be a little bit too big, or these guys a little bit too small. Now, unfortunately, I have discovered something that reflects a little bit poorly on the part of Toys Works, and it's the fact that they have they've recast the Hot Toys Red Skull normal civilian head sculpt for this figure right here. You can even see the little scars on the actual underside of the earlobe there. It's present on the Hot Toys one, and it's present to a lesser extent on this one right here. And I think that's why it looks a little bit more underscaled, is because in the recasting process, it tends to shrink just a little bit. And that's of course why the sculpt work is so incredibly strong, because the Hot Toys one was absolutely killer in terms of the sculpt work. When they copied it, they pretty much nailed it by default. Now, in terms of the paintwork, this one looks a hell of a lot better. So if you do have the Red Skull figure and you plan on popping this on there, it's definitely going to be an improvement. However, you will see those scars a little bit more on this one right here. And of course, the white sort of hair on the side there. And I don't think that you'll be able to plug in that earpiece on the ear as well. Just going over articulation on the Toys Works Agent Smith. Now, bear in mind, this is my personal copy of the figure. I'm not going to push the joints anywhere near as far as their limits can go. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, you can push it a little bit further than I'm willing to take it. Either way, let's start off with the head sculpt itself. It is on a fixed neck joint, so that means all of the movement you're getting is from the lower part of the neck. It is rather restricted, but you can definitely get enough to get him into a decent enough pose. Now, in terms of the arms themselves, he is a suited character, so that means there are 2 layers, so you're going to get a little bit of a restriction, but so far it's looking not too bad at all. Going forward, you're going to see quite a lot, because obviously the suit jacket bunches up. You can of course futz with it and get it to go up even further, just like with John Wick and any other suited figures. Now, in terms of the elbow, you do have a double bend. The joints are relatively tight, which I do like. Now, of course, you do have a swivel at the upper bicep, which does seem to ratchet and sort of click in place right there. Not sure why it does that, but I guess it's pretty darn sturdy. And of course, a traditional 1/6 scale joint at the wrist itself. Now, in terms of the body, he does have a crunch there, but when you do it, you sort of mess up the entire look of the outfit. If you have him in a crazy dynamic pose, maybe fighting Neo, I'm sure you're going to be totally fine. But for now, I'm just going to kind of leave him, I should say, in a more just relaxed style pose. I don't want to have the tie popping out or anything like that. As you can see though, the suit is definitely a dust magnet. Now, in terms of the legs, they go forward to about there before they start getting a little bit restricted. They go out pretty much to about there as well before you start stressing out the actual pants themselves. You do have a pretty decent and very, very stiff ratcheted double bend at the knee, which doesn't actually get you that far at all. You have a swivel at the upper thigh, and of course, traditional 1/6 scale joint at the ankle itself. Just wrapping up on the Toys Works Transcender figure. Now, unfortunately, this one for me is a bit of a mixed bag, and that doesn't happen very often. I was super excited going in to take a look at another third-party Matrix figure. They were coming off very strong from their Morpheus release, but this one, as I said, bit of a mixed bag. I really don't know how to feel about it. It's pretty much just a basic black suited figure with a recast head sculpt. I mean, you could easily pull that off at home without having to buy this release and support a company that does in fact do recasts. Again, it's up to you how you personally feel about that. I tend to sort of not mind too much if I already own the original product, which in this instance I do, but then again, I know some people get very upset when it comes to recasted figures, and with this being one, I feel like some people might in fact cancel their orders. Either way, if you don't have the original release and you actually do still need an Agent Smith for your collection, this is pretty much the only one, unless you went the route of kit bashing your own, which of course Peter from Posing with Peter did on his very own, and it looks really, really good. But then again, if you just want a straight out of the box, simple, ready to go figure, this one will definitely do the trick. Again, it is a little bit shorter, the head is a little bit too small in my personal opinion because of the recasting process. The secondary head sculpt, while it is a good, unique expression, I don't think it was executed to the fullest potential that Toys Era / Toys Works do have. I really do think they could have done a better job. Even their Toys Era comedian figure was painted a little bit better than what we're getting right here. The accessories are pretty darn basic. I do really like the display base, and I think it's a really nice addition to your growing Matrix line. I think it will also fit in very nicely alongside your Trinity and also the Toys Works Neo. But then again, as I said, at the end of the day, it really comes down to how you feel about recasting and how you feel about owning an Agent Smith that is slightly too small. Either way, I personally picked up mine from toyswonderland.com. The link for that is down in the description below. I've included it for your reference purposes only. This is not a promotional video. This is a review based off my own personal opinions. I picked this figure up with my own money. It is available on the open market. Also, while you're down in the description, why not check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the brand new awesome Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.